It is Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. This is another winter meetings edition of Baseball Today. That is my man, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose, producer Dan along for the ride as well. You know, this is one of the many, many reasons I love and appreciate you. Not at your best physically, but pushing through because this is what the people demand.
Yeah, I woke up not feeling great today. I got like a jacket on. I'm feeling cold, so probably feverish if we're being honest. But I love getting on here and talking ball with you, with Dan Rourke. And you know, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. The stove is kind of hot, Chris.
There is. So I'm kind of curious if maybe the reason you're not feeling great today is because of this.
Oh my God! Yeah, baby!
And he takes it strike three on the inside corner. And he looks at strike one.
Yeah,
he swings and misses, and it's 0-2. And he gets him. Plouffe gets locked up on Route 66, courtesy of 99.
That was not my call to do this.
Well, you know, that looks even nastier than it did at the plate. I gotta give it to Dan. I don't know if we should be even showing that. How about a spoiler alert before we get into it a little bit?
I know.
Maybe we'll have to edit that in. But no, I mean, if we're doing this on the show, yeah, tip of the cap to our guy. I mean, he came in and diced me up a little bit. He's got extension. Look, we talk about it all the time. You go on a Baseball Savant page, blood red on the extension page. That's Dan Rourke for you right there, and a guy I hadn't seen before. So this is good. I'm happy for him, man. I'm not mad.
Okay, good. I felt terribly doing it. Somebody suggested it on the way into work today.
No.
All right, good.
I know Dan watched that last night, maybe with a special someone.
Maybe. Can we just get going to work? This news kind of broke right before Tuesday's show about the Mets losing their closer. And now the fan base has gone to shit, basically. The figures on the Edwin Diaz came in after our show was done. We knew what the Dodgers gave him, 3 for 69. That had been reported by Jeff Passan. What we didn't know at the taping of our show was that the Mets reported offer was 3 for 66. So we're talking about a smidge difference that I'm guessing Stevie Cohen might have in his back pocket carrying around. So if you're keeping track, Diaz is gone. Nimmo has been traded. All this comes after an embarrassing collapse in the second half last year. Here is David Stearns.
I certainly understand that our fan base is frustrated with how our season ended last year. We're frustrated with how our season ended last year. We didn't meet our expectations, and we've got to do better than that. I also understand that our fans naturally have an attachment, as we do as well, an attachment to players who have been here and who have performed here for a long time. And we do take that into account, and it is part of the decisions that we have to make. We also have to be very cognizant about making the decisions that are going to allow us to compete now and also fit in with the future years where we want to consistently be World Series caliber team and World Series caliber organization. And sometimes that leads to really tough, uncomfortable decisions, and we've had to make a couple of those over the course of this offseason.
Plouffe, do you think that the fan base has lost faith in the organization?
I don't think they've lost faith. I think the pieces are still all there. I have become now an expert on reading GM's body language and like tone. I need to be like a consultant for these guys. Look, the words were good. The smile, the tone, like you're talking to a child explaining the way things work, bad. Like, come on. Like if you're a GM, you need to understand the pulse of your fan base and get there with them. You operate however you want. You're going to do that anyway. But get on the same tone as your fan base. He should be like, you know what? We're pissed. We're pissed at how it went last year. You kidding me? All I'm trying to do is make our team better for next year. And then Edwin Diaz news comes out. Be pissed about that. Get with your fans. Operate how you want to operate, but get on the same level. I didn't. Words were good. Tone was bad right there. Do I think the Mets fans have lost faith in the organization? I think they're very frustrated, Chris. But I do think if you're truly looking at the situation, you got to still be like fine with where you're at. Farm system, good. One of the best owners in the sport, willing to spend money. David Stearns is good at his job. You're in a good situation. Now, has this offseason started out well for you? No, it's been horrible for you. But there's still some time for it to get better. So I think you're frustrated, but you understand you're in a much better situation than you were, 4 years ago, right before Steve Cohen took over. So you have to have some sort of understanding of that. But I totally understand the frustration, especially because once the Diaz numbers came out, we're seeing $3 million separating that, which he would have matched, I'm sure. I think what you're more frustrated with is people want to go play for the Dodgers. Like, he chose the Dodgers because he felt like that's a better place to go win. So that's what you're kind of frustrated with. But overall, I think you understand you're in a good space. But last year was tough, Chris.
Hell yes, it was. Now, in fairness to David Stearns, he could not comment on the Edwin Diaz situation because it's still just a report. It's not an official signing. So where he could go with that discussion was limited. Also, there was the report that the Mets did not have a chance to at least match the offer. That's the report out there. We haven't heard that from anybody in the Mets organization per se. But I will say this. I am friends with several long-time, and I'm talking about guys who are even older than me, Mets fans, one of whom sent me a text, unsolicited, devastating day for the Mets and David Stearns. He lost the fan base today.
Hey.
That's pretty substantial.
You hear that, David?
Right there. I mean, the problem is all this comes on the heels of a team that at one point was 21 games over 500 and then barely finished above 500 and didn't make the playoffs after spending $800 million on the prize free agent. Plus, I think that a lot of people, whether you believe the reports or not in the New York Post about what transpired behind the scenes last year with the New York Mets, I think there's a certain part of the fan base that is saying, what the hell is going on with this shit show? This is embarrassing. And oh, by the way, we love that Stevie Cohen is the richest dude out there and is willing to go above and beyond financially. Maybe we need him to act a little more Steinbrenner-ish. It sounds like, and once again, we're not around the team on a daily basis, so we don't know this, that he is very hands-off when it comes to the like he lets his baseball dudes do their work. And I think that in New York, that doesn't always work.
I mean, hey, he said he wanted to be the Dodgers of the NL or of the NL East or the East Coast. I forget what the exact words were.
Yeah, the East Coast.
Walters just came out and said the exact same thing. Like, I let the front office do what they do, and I just tell them yes.
Yeah, but you know what the difference is? It's working in LA and it's not in New York. Right? So, that's the difference. In theory, it sounds perfect. Like, as fans, I think this is what we want.
Here, as a fan, you can't be like, Steve Cohen, get in there and read the scouting reports and go visit the instructional league down in the Dominican. What do you mean?
No, but what he could do, and we don't know if he did or didn't, is pick up the phone to Edwin Diaz and say, Edwin, listen to me. I want you to listen very clearly. Here's what David Stearns is going to offer. We value you a ton. We want you to stay. So if you want to call me and David, and we'll get on a Zoom together before you make your final decision, let's do it. We have an open door. Maybe that's what they're looking for.
Sure. I respect that. Like, I'm in on that for sure. I think that is something that most owners should do, but I think they're afraid to give leverage. They don't, a lot of guys don't have that in the bag. I think Stearns does. I think Cohen does. So I agree with you there.
What about the report? And this one would be pretty damning if it is true, that nobody in the Mets organization told Edwin Diaz that New York was signing Devin Williams. Do you think that was enough to ruffle feathers?
To be honest, it shouldn't, because he's still the top dog there.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, if there's room, it's a bullpen. So you have 8 dudes in your bullpen. Like, there's going to be more than just you. So if I'm playing third base for the Twins and they sign a third baseman without telling me, then I'm like, okay, what the hell is going on? I'd like to be in the loop here. But as a reliever, especially a guy that's the reliever in the game, I don't think he would have balked.
Yeah,
I think he would have said, hell yeah, man, let's go.
Right. The more the
But
merrier.
at the same time, he wasn't in the organization.
It's not like signing a quarterback where there's only one on the field at a time. It's very, very, very different.
Yeah, and again, like I said, he wasn't in the organization. He opted out.
That's true.
So I don't know. There's a lot of things going on here, but to get back to your original question, should Mets fans lose faith in the organization? No. But I agree with the points, especially about the clubhouse culture and all these things. Again, they might be a little bit exaggerated, but that's not the stuff you want to hear as a fan base.
No, it's not. I want to know, if I'm a Mets fan, how the hell are we getting better? That's all. Right now, you are not better. Marcus Semien for Brandon Nimmo, maybe it makes you marginally better because of the glove you're getting, and Marcus Semien can still hit it around the yard if he rediscovers it. Okay, fine. Devin Williams, Edwin Diaz, you're probably not as good there, is what I'm going to say. And there's a vacancy at first base right now. I mean, this team has to do something earth-shattering. And it's why I suggested, hey, to go but win back some fans and to improve your team all in one fell swoop, go get Tarek Skubal. There were a lot of people that lit me up in the comments about that one. But you don't think that would win back a fan base?
It certainly would. If you went and got Skubal and re-signed Pete, I think we're A-okay. I want to get your take on this. The whole, new area surrounding the ballpark, casino. Do you think fans are, stoked on that? Or is the sentiment great? More ways to take money from me?
I mean, this is nothing new. We've seen new areas pop up, and I'm not talking about casinos, but I mean, look what has developed around Wrigley Field of all places.
Well, I think there is a sports book there.
Yeah, there is there, but I don't think there is in St. Louis, right?
Okay. I don't know. I'm so curious because at one side of my brain, I'm like, hey, that's a fun experience. You get to go around the ballpark and hang. I think that's cool. But if your team is losing and you have all these issues, that seems like, why are we focusing on that? We need to be focusing on the field.
Well, I don't think that the Mets are not focusing on baseball.
Sure.
I think that they have gone about it poorly. I thought for them last year to spend $800 million on a guy and go into the season with a questionable starting rotation at best, I thought that was somewhat baseball-ish irresponsible. A lot of time left in the offseason. It's only December 10th. But, man, y'all better make a move. I think they do need to make a move before the holiday season. Get some holiday cheer up there in Queens.
Okay.
Let us know where you are, Mets fans. How we doing emotionally today? Anybody check in on Jolly? How's he doing? I don't think
he's
great.
Bumping elbows with Scott Boras.
That's
He's just
true.
big timing over there.
That's true. Did you ever? I do want to show you one other thing. Hopefully Dan's got this. The back page of the New York Post, basically 1 year away. So that's last year on the left. 765th. OMG with a big smiling photo of Juan Soto coming to town. And then a year later, the day the music died with Mr. Met holding the trumpet.
Is the reason they didn't get back to prominence Jose Iglesias?
Just saying.
Clubhouse culture.
We talked about that. No category for it, but there's some sort of financial price tag. Speaking of which, clubhouse culture. Talked about Kyle Schwarber going back to Philadelphia for 5 years and $150 million, not $150, as I said on yesterday's show, I believe at some point. According to Ken Rosenthal, the Orioles actually matched that price tag, but apparently didn't have the family ties. So prior to Schwarber turning down Baltimore, GM Mike Elias said this.
Is there space payroll-wise for you guys to sign both an impact bat and a frontline starting pitcher?
Yes, I think so. You look at our payroll as it stands right now, and it's still well below where we were at last year. And we'll just consider opportunities as they come up and have those conversations with ownership. But we do have room for more moves, multiple more moves.
Okay, so they got room for a big bat and a frontline starter. Do you think both come to Baltimore?
I first of all, here's my grade of that interview. Great. Good job. Now go back it up. Because he went out there and said it, dude. So, like, you better go out there and make waves. And the way you do that, like, you have to go. Like, I don't know if Baltimore is like a premier destination right now. I think we're going to get into that a little bit later in the show. So, if you're not like a premier destination, you gotta be the best offer. You gotta sell the dream and be the best offer. So, it takes two to tango. You can say, hey, we want to do this. We have the money to do it. But you got to convince somebody to sign with you. That's the whole thing about free agency, is convincing guys to come there. So I like what I'm hearing more about them getting a bat on the free agent market. And then this Edward Cabrera situation that's going on, I think is really interesting to me, because we've seen them already do this dance. And Chris, you're at a club, you and this girl start dancing. Oh, we got some chemistry together. The night might end up great. They've already done this. Last year, Trevor Rogers comes over. They send Stowers. Both sides are extremely happy with how that worked out.
Well, they are
that
now.
happen again?
They are now. When Rogers came over, he was so bad in 2024.
And then what happened?
They had to send him down, though, and everybody's like, what a joke. You all just
He's the best pitcher in the league when he came back up.
He was great.
Okay, so it ended up fine. It started off rocky, the relationship, but it's smooth sailing right now. Edward Cabrera can come over here. By the way, not going to cost you a ton of money. Will cost you some players. They have I think now would be like more like some of the infielders at the major league level that could head that way. That to me is very interesting for the Orioles. I'm in on that, and then go out and take a big swing where you can maybe pony up a little bit extra cash to convince guys to come your way for that free agent bat. So, look, love what he said. Now you got to go back it up. I think he's actually done a good job drafting. He's made some good trades. The things that he's done poorly, not replacing a Corbin Burns, right? Like, yes, that's tough. So we've seen that happen. Go make up for it. Get these two things done. I think the Orioles can be right back in it if they do, in fact, go get a top of the line starting pitcher like an Edward Cabrera can be, and then a big bat.
Yeah, I mean, listen, they've basically fired one shot since Elias took over, and that was the Corbin Burns one and done deal. And he gave up Hall and Ortiz has turned into a really good defensive player. Offensively, we still have a lot of questions about, and Hall has been too banged up to make any sort of assessment on him. But that's really been it. Everything else, he's kind of prospect hugged. I mean, let's remember, Stowers was not one of the 2 or 3 top prospects, right? They had too many other guys, whether it was Jackson Holiday or Westberg, any of those guys, Kauser, those guys, he's wanted to hold on to them for dear life. And I wonder if maybe he's allowing a little more leeway when it does come to trades, because I think that maybe pitching wise, that's where they go. I mean, would you be happy if they got a Ranger Suarez for, I don't know if that's $90 million in 4 years or something? Like, is that?
Yeah, I'd be ecstatic for them. Yes,
I would think so too. Now they also have a couple of guys that are in their walk year that you have to be careful of. I don't think they know what to do with Adley Rutschman. Like 2 years ago, we thought he's an easy, let's give him a couple $100 million and call it a day, and you got the catching position. And now I don't even know if he's their main catcher anymore.
I think he will be, and I think honestly, you try to extend him right now.
Oh, you try and get him while he's down.
Bargain shopping, yeah. Because look, if Basayo is going to be this bat first guy, not going to be your catcher of the future, not every team has this catcher that freaking bangs the ball around the yard, but he's got a chance to get back to that.
Right.
And he can, and he's well regarded, handles the pitching staff well. Like, okay.
So here's the thing I do like. He talked about payroll flexibility. They signed Tyler O'Neill to that 3-year deal, I believe, last year, and year one was a disaster. He just wasn't on the field. He reverted back to kind of like the Tyler O'Neill after he burst onto the scene in St. Louis, and then there were question marks after that. They traded back for Kittredge. They traded him to the Cubs. They traded him back, and they picked up his $9 million option, and they signed Helsley. With all of that, their payroll to guaranteed deals is still sub $45 million. So they have a lot of room to play with. And right now they're an afterthought in the American League East, right? Yes. You've got the defending American League champion Toronto Blue Jays. They've got the New York Yankees. They've got the Boston Red Sox who are moving up. And then I don't think a ton of the Tampa Bay Rays, but they can always surprise you at times. So the Orioles are at the bottom when it comes to the standings, and at the bottom when it comes to the excitement level people have for the teams in that division.
Looking at Adley's numbers, he's just really struggled against fastballs. Last 2 years, 2023 he crushed them. That to me says, number one, probably some sort of injury that's kept him from getting to himself. But that stuff can be fixed. You can fix that.
Hey, today's edition of Baseball Today is brought to you by Shopify. Shopify, it's the best place to start and grow a business, and that is why we partner with them here at John Boy Media. John Boy Media, we've relaunched our merch store on Shopify. It's our new /line site. It was a total dream come true. We brought the ideas. Shopify brought the execution. Now, as you're shopping our new launch, check out what Shopify can actually do for you. Life really is a home run when you have Shopify on your side. Why? We got Shopify Sidekick, Shopify Magic, and a suite of AI tools. Total game changer. It's revolutionizing the way you can build and manage a business. You're going to have your own AI assistant guiding you through everything. We're talking about directions and reports and editing images and content ideas. Shopify has got your next move totally covered. So if you want to be like us here at John Boy Media, start building your own brand from the ground up, it's time to go on over to Shopify and start your trial today. Click that link, shopify.com/today. If you're ready to leave the amateurs and head on over to the big leagues, join us like we did. Shopify. All right. Another part of the Kyle Schwarber equation was with the Cincinnati Reds, right? He grew up in Middletown, Ohio, about 35 miles from Cincinnati. Their reported offer topped out at about $125 million, so $25 million short of what he ended up going back to Philly for. So the question is now, will Cincy use that money that they allocated for Schwarber on another big name? Not according to Ken Rosenthal of The Athletics, who wrote, unlike the Orioles, the Reds are not expected to pursue other expensive free agents. Their offer to Schwarber, a native of Middletown, Ohio, about 35 miles north of Cincy, was tied to their belief that his addition would help drive ticket sales. What is your reaction to that report?
Don't love it. All we've ever heard is, the ticket sales are such a minimal part of what gets us our money. We hear that all the time from them. I think it's a cop-out. I think what drives ticket sales, winning on the field, being in the race. That's what drives ticket sales. We've seen they have a guy that drives ticket sales. Remember the line for Ellie De La Cruz's bobblehead? Like they have people on the team that their fans want to come see. What they want to see and will show up for is a team that's competitive. And how are you going to get that? By signing a bat or trading for a bat, whatever you got to do. So I don't love it. And part of me thinks like similar with the Pirates, who I guess made a really valiant effort to do it. The more we hear about their offer, was it 4-year 120 they went to?
Yeah, if that's it, that's
pretty good.
Pretty amazing.
But I think maybe both of them were like, what are you guys offering? 150 for 5? Okay, cool. Hey, Kyle, we got 4 for 120. So just so the report can be out there. That's kind of what I'm feeling like right now. Obviously, I don't know that for sure. But I don't like the sentiment. And again, my main takeaway here is if you want to drive fans to the ballpark, give them a good and this is a team that was just in the playoffs. Like give them something so the fans know you're going to be competitive. Don't squeak in there. Go be there all year long. And the way to do that is to get some offense.
It's been 30 years since this franchise won a playoff series, I believe. 30 years. That's a whole generation and a half of Reds fans that have never seen an October series win of significance. That's sad. And I've got a lot of, I started my career in Cincinnati. I right after I graduated from Miami University, my first 2 jobs were in Cincy. I lived there for 3 years. During the early to mid 90s when they were, just on the backside of their 1990 World Series championship, and they still had really good teams and really good players. And Barry Larkin, who grew up there in Cincinnati and grew into this Hall of Fame shortstop right in front of our eyes, was still leading the team. And they made it, I believe, to the NLCS in 95, losing to the Braves. So that was the good times. And since then, it has just been downtrodden. Yes, they have a new stadium. Yes, they signed Joey Votto to a $200+ million extension. Yes, they made the playoffs in 2012. Yes, they had a 2-0 lead against the Giants and ended up losing that series. And they just haven't been a part of the discussion much since. And they feel like they should be better. They feel like they should be better.
Agreed.
And I sure as hell would be pissed if I were a Reds fan today if this report is true. That is a slap in the face. You're just saying that you're going to use a guy. Yes, he might hit 45 homers, whatever, next year, Kyle Schwarber and Cincinnati. Who knows? 50, 50. I don't care what the number is. But you're just saying the only reason we're bringing him in town is to draw locals to the ballpark because they're excited about a guy who grew up 35 miles from Cincinnati. That doesn't make any sense. 0 sense. So if I'm a Reds fan, I'm putting a team on notice. Like, what are you going to do? All right, that ship has sailed. You tried to get Kyle Schwarber. It didn't work out. What's next? I mean, you're going to trade for Yandy Diaz? Is that going to be a difference maker? I don't know.
That's like saying, like, if we just went and signed everybody from Ohio, we're going to sell out.
You know what they're excited about now is that Scott Boras used Reds in one of his Cody Bellinger rhymes. That's what they're excited
it's also,
about.
Honestly, it's also like, what's the word I'm looking for? It's a slap in the face to the Reds fan base to say something like that. Like, oh, we'll just play to your hometown roots card and not you guys don't care about winning. You just want to see somebody from good old Ohio. Like, get out of here.
No.
It's a good base. That's a good sports city.
Hell yes, it is.
They know their sports. They want winners there.
Listen, bro, I grew up in Ohio. Cincinnati is an arch rival of Cleveland. But I could tell you this, having grown up in Cleveland and having lived in Cincinnati for part of my career, sports makes your world better in those cities. When you grow up in Los Angeles, there's so much other stuff you could do. You can go in the mountains. You can go, be in the ocean. There's a gazillion things. Sports they can be an ancillary part of the program here. They're really much on the periphery. I've always said it's a good Lakers town and a very good Dodgers town. And outside of that, people kind of pick and choose. But in a place like Cincinnati, it's the DNA of what you're about. That's your soul. You want your teams to be great. And it's going to suck if this team is, again, like an 83-win team. Like, come on.
Matt McClain, step it up. I love you, bro. Like, I need you to be the guy.
Yeah, but that's not enough. It's
not enough. I'm just looking at his page right now, Chris.
You know what? It's not enough to just say, hey, players be better, which you would like them to do. Organization be better. Go out and you've done a nice job putting this youngish team together. Now go, fine. If that means we got to trade some pieces and that's the way you want to get things done, if you don't want to splurge in the free agent market, fine. But go do something.
Ketel Marte. Him and Ellie up the middle would be absolutely electric.
Yeah. Look, they need some pop to that lineup. They only had 2 guys with more than 15 homers last year. And that park is pretty juicy for hitters.
Oh, my gosh. Pete Alonso, not Starling Marte. Ketel Marte.
Mm-hmm. They could probably get Starling Marte.
Yeah, they probably could.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think they'll get a guy like Alonso.
I don't think so either. He just got Schwarber's contract laid out right in front of him. They're not going to do that. But I mean, they just tried. If you try to sign Schwarber for that money, Pete Alonso's right there, essentially the same player. And I guarantee he'll sell tickets. This guy's a freaking dog. He'll sell tickets.
Do you think 4 for $120 would get it done with Alonso there?
No.
You don't?
No, because I don't think he. Oh, shoot, it'd be a real fun place for him to hit, wouldn't it? Oh my gosh, he might break the home run record if he goes there.
If they picked up Pete Alonso in it, let's just play the fun game.
Okay.
Where would you put them in the National League Central?
If they picked up Pete Alonso?
Mm-hmm.
And that was their only move?
Yeah, let's say they add a bullpen arm or something, but let's say that's the big shot you fire for the lineup with that pitching staff. Don't give me if they're healthy, let's.
It still sits them in third.
Really?
But like threatening.
I think
good years by Matt McClain, Ellie stepping it up, like some of these other guys kind of playing a little bit better. Like that needs to. And maybe Pete Alonso's that force that gets everyone to be on their toes a little bit, and they go. I love the pitching staff. We've always loved the pitching staff.
So I would try my damnedest to either get Alonso or Cody Bellinger, and I don't know what number it's going to take for Bellinger. I think it's going to take a pretty high one.
Yeah, honestly, I haven't even thought about his contract, like what exactly it's
either.
going to get to.
But I would sign one of those guys, and I would trade for another stick, and I would trade from our surplus of pitching, and I would run the risk that, yeah, you know what, maybe some of our guys are going to be banged up because you know that Hunter Green and Nick Lodolo are going to end up on the injured list at some point during the year.
Ketel Marte and Pete Alonso puts them where in the NL Central? You're getting rid of a pitcher at that point.
Well, first of all, you might have just made it the best right side of the infield hitting-wise in baseball, right? And then you have Ellie.
That's Matt McClain fucking figuring it out.
Yeah. That's fun. I mean, I think that's like a 90-win team. You had another bullpen arm. I mean, they brought back Pagan. I don't know if he can exactly duplicate what he did last year, but if you get 85% of that, you're still in good shape.
You brought Pagan's name up. Shout out Marty Fish. It was his birthday yesterday, former tennis pro.
Yeah, Marty Fish.
He used to text me every time Emilio Pagan came in for the Twins. It was like, why is this guy in the game? And
Marty
now
Fish.
He's become like a great closer for the Reds. So shout out Marty Fish.
Marty Fish, I think, is the best former pro athlete golfer that we've got, right?
He's silly.
Have you ever played with him?
A couple times we're supposed to. Hasn't happened, so no.
You got to go play with him.
I don't want to.
Yes, you do.
I think he's at Bel Air, or he might be at somewhere other. He's at a fancy country club. But yes, Jack Nicklaus has said that he could be a pro golfer. He said he's the best amateur golfer he's ever seen. How about that?
That's saying something. Pretty good. I'll share with you a good my dad and Jack Nicklaus story one day.
Okay.
Not right now. Red Sox reportedly all in on changing up their infield. Boston Globe reports that Seager heads a list of all-stars on Boston's trade shopping list. Others include Paredes in Houston, Marte in Arizona, Brendan Donovan of the Cardinals. Is this more, hey, I'll be shocked if that happens, or, yeah, I could see that happening?
I as far as the trade stuff goes, I mean, some of those are real like backup plans, I feel like a Brendan Donovan, nice player, but I don't think that's at the forefront of their minds. Like the Corey Seager stuff, I would be shocked if that happens. Ketel Marte, I feel like I don't know if they're willing to give up what it takes to get him. I think a lot of this like stuff is contingency plans, but also a little bit of like leverage play on like Bregman saying, hey, we got other options, dude. Like you're not the only guy that we're after. Because that to me still should be their number one priority. And I don't think they need to like completely revamp their infield. There's been a lot of talk about that. I think they need Bregman back in a really big way, because we talk about clubhouse culture with all these other teams, and he's been one of the guys. And I know, I mean, he's come a long way, Chris.
Mm-hmm.
From the Astros days. He's very, very widely regarded, amongst big league players now for being that kind of influence, a good influence. So, think what you want about him. He's turned the page and he's become a positive influence in Major League Baseball clubhouses. So I want to give him a shout out for that, because that's not an easy thing to do. But I think all those are contingency plans and a little bit of a leverage play, and Bregman's still the guy they're looking to bring in. And I think they want to do Bregman and Pete Alonso.
Okay, I could see all that happening. You know me, I am so much more interested in trades than I am free agency, because there's two teams instead of one involved, if not three.
Yeah.
Plouffe's a big multi-way team guy. He likes.
I was gonna say you're all about the three-way, huh?
I think the Corey Seager one is fascinating.
Yeah, of course it is.
Well, because when people say, well, let's just make a trade, it has to make sense. And this would make a lot of sense for Texas. What does Boston have a surplus of?
Starting pitching.
And outfield depth. And Texas needs both. I know they just traded for Nimmo, and I know that they still feel good about some of their young guys, but man, whether it's Wilyer Abreu or Jarren Duran, both who are under team control for a little while, plus one of these starting pitchers, these younger arms that seem to be ready, whether it's Connerly Early or Peyton Tolley or Hunter Dobbins, like that stuff makes sense. And as far as Boston's payroll, you know that you're paying Corey Seager $31 million each of the next 6 years. I get it. But they've already taken care of a couple of their young guys, so they know what they're paying them. Story will come off the books after 2 years. What?
I'm just thinking. You got me thinking about trades and stuff.
Like, I think that one actually makes sense. I don't think it's like, well, how do we make that happen? And does Texas really want? I think you could say yes to a lot of this stuff.
Okay, here let's think about this. You give away whatever you said, Duran and Wilyer Brady. You still have Roman Anthony.
No, I was saying or.
I'm just saying, fine, but like we're gonna remove those guys from the profile right now. You got Rafaela in center field. You got Roman Anthony out there in right field. Vacancy in left, right? Who's gonna be on the market? That's a guy that's not a great outfielder, but you don't need one in left field in Boston. Who's a bat? Big team. Probably looking to clear up a little bit of cash. The Dodgers.
Teoscar? Oh,
yes, baby.
People were
yes.
so angry. People were so angry with you that you mentioned that even.
Teoscar in left field for the Red Sox, and you just kind of, I bet, I mean, how much would it take to get him? I think they'd just be like, hey, just take the contract. Throw us a little piece of, throw us some reliever. We need some bullpen help. Fine, take that there, and then they'll reallocate and they go sign Cody Bellinger. But for the Red Sox, Teoscar, Sedane, Roman Anthony in right field, then you still have the pieces to go, or the money to go get somebody in the infield, like a Bregman. Like I'm all in on this.
You're saying if they trade for Seager.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think that they would then bring Teoscar.
A lot of moving pieces.
I think Teoscar's got $40+ million over the next 2 seasons. I don't think they would do that on top of picking up Seager.
This is the Boston Red Sox we're talking about. Act
Gotta
like the Boston Red Sox.
Got to watch our pennies if they still even make those anymore. I don't think so.
They don't.
I will tell you this, that Craig Breslow said our team is lacking thump in the middle of the order, and we need some thump. So something is going to happen. He also said players are happy hanging on to their big contracts, and they don't want to make trades, and that's one of those we'll talk out of both sides of our mouth sort of deal. Itzhak Paredes is always fascinating to me, particularly in a place like Boston. Like when he got traded to Houston last year, we said since he's such a dead pull hitter, he could hit 30 homers there. He ended up hitting 20 in 102 games. So 30 was a real possibility. Same thing in Boston, right?
I don't love dead pull hitters in Boston necessarily. I think you still need to be a well-rounded hitter in Boston, because what they'll do to a dead pull hitter is throw you absolutely nothing inside. And it's very, besides pesky pull, it's very deep to right field.
Yes, it is.
So, a guy like a Bregman who can still do all of those things, hit the ball the other way, will be fine there. But a guy like Itzhak Paredes sounds good in theory, but I don't know, Chris.
Okay, that's a good point. Last thing before we get out of here, Blue Jays, they missed out on Edwin Diaz, as did a few other teams, but their newest starter visited everybody at the winter meetings, Dylan Cease. He signed on for next 7 years, $210 million.
I think the biggest thing is you could tell they've built a really impressive culture. As they were explaining sort of what they do to get the best out of players, or how they prepare, and even the little things like travel and whatnot, you can just tell that it's a buttoned-up organization. They want to win, and it was obvious. I had Kevin Gosman's phone number from previous encounters, and I had asked him about it, and honestly, as I asked around, no one had any negatives to say about it. And then the consensus has been, you're going to love the city, you're going to love the organization, and it was as simple as that. There wasn't negative, so it was pretty simple, pretty easy, pretty straightforward.
By the way, if this whole pitching thing doesn't work out, he could do books on tape. Like,
you like the voice?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, I do too. I mean, the guy's he's a handsome guy too.
Yeah, a lot of flowing locks, the whole bit.
Really rich too.
Let's get to what he said. Has Toronto become the place to be now in the American League?
It's one of them now. I think they've definitely upped their standing in destinations for sure, right? I still think you have. I think Boston's still a big place that guys want to go. It's a fun place to play. Once you get to Fenway Park, there's just something magnetic about it. I truly still believe the Yankees are, although the New York media for they want to say we hold players accountable. You also push players away. Like a lot of people don't want to deal with that. So as cool as New York is, and I love New York, love the energy of the city. Like I think there is a little bit of that aspect. Like man, that's like not like an easy thing. Yeah, I want to be challenged. I want to put pinstripes on whatever all that is. I still think that if the media just chilled out a little bit, it'd be a better place to play. But as far as Toronto goes, I mean, everything he said is correct. The city's amazing, and I've talked to a bunch of different guys who said the same thing. They're investing in all the things that matter to players, like the development facilities in general. They just went through a massive overhaul at the stadium. It's beautiful. It's awesome. It's right downtown. It's great. The spring training facility is awesome. They're doing the things like he mentioned with travel, with families, like everything that you want a world-class organization to do, they're doing it. And we hear that all the time about what team out west, the Dodgers, right? Like they're first class. They do everything the right way. The Toronto Blue Jays have become that. So I think that is a big part of people's decisions too. Like, yeah, I talked to these guys and they have nothing bad to say. That's not the case for every single team. Like there's teams where like this is great, but and right now Toronto fan base awesome. You got big pocket ownership, obviously, and then again all the things they've done to upgrade the facilities and kind of their image. I think it's definitely become. Let me put a range on it, I guess, because you want me to answer the question. It's top 3, I would say, in the AL.
Yeah, I don't think there's a question about it. I mean, but let's not pretend. The number one thing I heard from Blue Jay fans was players aren't going to want to leave there. They don't want to. Well, when did this all happen? Because it's not like a new president and new GM just took over. Shapiro and Ross Atkins have been there a decade, and y'all wanted to kick them out of the country. At this time last year, you were like, I've had enough. So they're the same guys they've always been. I've known those guys both for a while. Conscientious, like they do take care of their players. Now, the good thing is that you heard from Max Scherzer and his family, and he has obviously in his 2 decades as a big leaguer been around a ton of organizations. And you heard it from Chris Bassett and his family, how much they've enjoyed it there. Guys do sing the praises, and that is a big part of it. But you know what the biggest part is? Their top 5 payroll. They will also be like, here is the money. Here's the money. And folks, yes, it is wonderful to be treated exceptionally well by the place where you work. We all know that. But guess what? There's some things I could say, all right, maybe the travel isn't as great, but they're paying me $30 million more over there. And then all of a sudden that stuff doesn't matter as much. It might for some people.
I agree. Like $30 million difference, yes. But if you're similar offers, which most of the time they end up, they're all around the same. The decisions sway on those little things. And again, I'll say it again. Toronto is a phenomenal city. It is so fun, and it has a different type of energy. So like the city sells itself. And then, yeah, if you hear from people, hey, they take care of your family. Like they're great with that. I mean, that right there, guys, I'm in. Let's go. That's such a huge aspect of this. Little things throughout the organization. That's why they do say it's an organizational thing. It's not just on field. It's true because these guys are making decisions now for the next 7 years of my life, next 5 years of my life. Like I don't want this to be a bad situation for the people who support me.
Mm-hmm.
And so like those things, they truly do matter.
They do, as long as everything, meaning the dollars and cents, are close.
Yes.
And you know what? For that, Toronto should be applauded. I do want to make one other point, that there are reports now that Shane Bieber, the reason that he opted back in, did you see this?
I'm dying to hear.
The forearm discomfort. Now, once again, that's a report out there. So for all the people who are like, well, he loved it there. That's why he took it back. He might have loved it there. I'm not saying people are going to be like, why do you hate Toronto? I don't hate Toronto, but stories have to make sense. So if he did have forearm discomfort, and by the way, their manager was on a bunch of shows and said, yeah, we think that he'll be ready to go for spring training or for the regular season. But
I sniffed that out right away.
Well, you thought it was a contract extension.
I said something's awry here.
Something is. Yeah.
So he's and he just came back from TJ.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
Man. Well, I hope for him. I like him a lot.
I do too.
And I've grown to be, Toronto Trev a little bit. So for the fan base as well. Okay. Let's keep an eye on that story.
Look, y'all have become a superpower in the American League. And so
but they had been that. They had been that too, though. I mean,
but
think
they
about
hadn't
those
been
Josh
on the
Donaldson,
field.
Joey Bautista teams, man.
Yeah, but they hadn't been it on the field. Like they're
pretty damn good, dude.
Solid is what I would say.
What did that team get to as far as the playoffs? They beat the Orioles in, what was that, the DS?
So the furthest they got was the ALCS in 2016.
And lost to Cleveland.
Yeah. So they had some good teams, but they weren't consistently great. They made the playoffs, in back-to-back years in 22 and 23.
They were fun, man. They banged the ball. Oh,
yeah.
my gosh.
Yeah. So they have been a solidly consistent team, but they haven't been any better than, I don't know. I mean, obviously they haven't been more consistent than the Yankees. You would say the Red Sox-ish. They've been behind Cleveland over the last 10 years. Houston, obviously. I don't know. How do you equate them with Seattle right now? About the same?
Who are we talking about?
Toronto and Seattle?
As far as what, like competing?
Yeah, I don't know.
Over the last few years?
They feel like they're about the same.
Yeah, I get that.
The last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. Even this year. I mean, look, Seattle's a damn good team.
Yeah. Look, it's good. Be happy. Go spend more money. They might get Kyle Tucker. That free agency we haven't even talked about, and that could be really interesting.
I hope this whole thing just blows up. I'm excited. But just wait, I don't I want, how they say, it slows down around Christmas and New Year's? I actually want that. Everyone just chill out a little bit. Let's let us take some time. Go skiing.
Got it. All right. Well, you can go rest up. Do you need some soup? I can run over some soup.
I'm feeling a little bit better now. I think I'm going to take some Tylenol and go to the gym and just be a freaking
No,
yes.
You're not going to. If you don't feel well, do not go in the gym.
I just said I feel a little weird.
I feel a little weird every day.
Yeah, you do. You are a little weird.
Yeah.
All right, maybe I'll stay in bed. I don't know.
Well, we'll see. If there's anything monumental happening over the next 48 hours, we'll be back at some point this week. But if not, maybe we'll see you next week. Well, we'll definitely see you next week.
Yeah, when's our next show? If nothing happens, Monday?
If nothing major happens. Like the Soto signing, and I'm not talking about Juan, but the other Soto, the left-handed reliever, when he signs, we're not going to break into news.
Okay. Gregory?
Yeah. Well, he signed. Congratulations. And there's your mention for it. Oh, and by the way, the White Sox got the first pick of the 2026 draft.
Yeah, Twins got third.
Yeah.
I actually have some freaking news. I can't put it out here. It's not crazy news, but it's not out there yet.
Oh, can't wait.
Team USA roster related.
Oh, I love that.
Hey, we're getting there, baby.
We are getting. That's going to be a ton of fun. And we'll be all over it here at John Boy Media.
I'll say this. We need it on Team USA roster. That's all you're going to get.
Yep. All right. For our one-of-a-kind producer, Dan Rourke, the strikeout king.
Yeah.
That is the uber-talented, if under the weather, Trevor Plouffe. I am Chris Rose. We will see you again soon here on Baseball Today.